Thank you very much and good morning all. Permit me to hide on the existing protocol so that we can fly. Well, I will be brief and precise. Now, looking at the theme of the event, we're working the Nigerian Constitution on national transformation and integration. I will say that the transformation and integration of Nigeria depends on a working constitution. Like any other country in the world, where the constitution is also seen as the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. Looking at the national constitution as amended as it is today, the major problem being encountered in Nigeria is the non-implementation and adherence to the provisions of the constitution. The major problem is that the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria is more like an ordinary document in the eyes of the executive and people. In as much as I agree that the 1999 Constitution, as it is today, needs a very constructive amendment for this country, Nigeria as a nation, to continue and to move forward. But firstly, let's look at certain things. Now, we'll talk about the supremacy of the Constitution. Section 1, sub 1 of the Nigerian Constitution today, we can see says that the provisions of this Constitution is supreme. But in the real sense and in actual sense, is the Constitution of Nigeria supreme? Where impunity has become the order of the day in Nigeria, majorly by the people in authority, who are the ones saddled with the responsibility of implementing the state constitution. But this impunity has become a thorn in the flesh. And that is why, even if there is a constitution in Nigeria today, nobody knows. Now, we also look at the overbearing power of the executive as provided by the constitution. With the kind of powers vested on the executive by the constitution, this country can never move forward. Those powers must be looked into if we want a better Nigeria tomorrow. Now, you look at it also this way. Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution, which is fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, is not justifiable. Now, going from the provisions of section 13 to section 24 of the Constitution, which provides for the fundamental objectives and directive principles. If you look at it holistically, the provisions of this section, if we are to tell ourselves the truth and begin to adhere strictly to the provisions of chapter 2 of the Constitution, and thereby making it justiciable, we will not be having the problems we're having in this country today. That provision is more like a novel. Because if you had the intention ab initio not to make such provision justiciable, then why inciting them or enshrining them as part of the Constitution? It makes mockery of the whole document, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you look at that provision of that chapter 2, That is what actually is the bedrock of integration of Nigeria as a nation. If you look at it very well, because it talks about government policies, it talks about economic policies, it talks about the educational sector, it talks about social objectives, educational objectives, foreign policies, and all the rest. But the government, for one reason or the other, decided to make it look like a mere literature book just for the purposes of reading it and all the rest. Now, you go down to the issue of concentration of power at the center. We should start looking at devolution of power. We should start looking at ways to remove this so much centralized power at the center because it is taking us nowhere. And if we don't do this, we don't look at this holistically, we'll just be going around and will not achieve anything. Lord Dennis said in his judgment in the case of Parker versus Parker, he said, until we start doing what we have not done before, we will remain standstill while the rest of the world moves on. These things we have been doing for years and decades that is not taking us anywhere. And we're still doing the same thing. We're talking about constitutional amendment. We're not looking at the key issues, key areas where we should look at that will touch life of Nigeria, that will transform Nigeria, that will look for a better integration, the unity of this country. It's easy to say that the unity of the country, Nigeria, is not negotiable. It is easy to say that. But in practice, what are we doing? What is the government doing to make sure that this unity of the country is not negotiable? You can only achieve that by making sure that you put policies in place, you put policies in motion to convince the people that you actually meant what you're saying. The major problem we're having today in Nigeria is because Nigerians, the masses have seen that the government seems not serious in trying to build a nation for a better integration tomorrow. So because of that, there seems to be this disconnection between the people and the government. And let me take just one thing clear. When we talk about the government, my much emphasis or focus here is the executive arm of government. Because the powers being exercised by the executive arm of government is so enormous that they have one way or the other swallowed the other two organs of government, which is the legislature and the judiciary. And that is why it seems that we are in a standstill. And without this, we cannot move forward. Now, I think we should also begin to look at this decentralization because it will create room for human development, capital human development, capacity building, economic development, infrastructural development, and all the rest. Again, I think most importantly, we should begin to look at the issue of returning back to regional government. Because since 1999, so to say, there have been this little or no infrastructural developments in Nigeria. Even the little infrastructural development we have seen across the nation were even provided by the state. So why are we now working against or rejecting this regional government? So why? What are we afraid of? Now, in a nutshell, I will also say that for us to get these things done, there are three things we must do. There are three things we must introduce. And what are these three things? Rule of law. And three, rule of law. Without rule of law, in any society, in any government, in any nation, we are just wasting our time. Because we must be able to tell ourselves the truth and know that with the rule of law, the institutions will be working. You don't need me to be a superpower or a super mind to occupy a government position for something to be done properly. No. If the institutions are working, the institutions will be the issue that will drive the nation. And in a nutshell, and above all, we should look at this amendment holistically. Since 1999, there have been one or two amendments of the Constitution. But the question should be, have it solved any problem? And the answer is no. We are still where we are today. We are still recycling. Why? Mainly because the people in the helm of affairs have not allowed the full implementation of the Constitution as it's supposed to be. And again, when you're making a law or when you're making this amendment or when you're proposing an amendment or a bill or whatever, you should have in mind the generality of the masses. Also having in mind that the 1999 Constitution, as it is today, provides that the main end of government is for the welfare and security of the people. Now, if you look at that chapter 2 of the Constitution, welfare mainly and security of the citizens talks about every aspect. You ask me, I will say that constitutional amendment, well, is good, but do we have the capacity to stand on our feet? The National Assembly as it is today, do they have the capacity to stand and to say, no, this is what we want? It is not about us. It's not about the executive. It's not about the judiciary. It's about the people. Now, we also begin to look at, if we talk about constitutional amendment, how far do we go? If you remember, the last administration brought up this issue of confab. How deep is the masses carried along in any amendment that is being proposed? Public opinion, public hearing, and all the rest. You don't just go out there and bring in one or two things and put it together without, first of all, hearing from the people, without, first of all, getting the input of the masses. Because this law is meant for the people and for the masses. And if you look at the Constitution, you understand the preamble there that we, the people of Nigeria, having come together to give to ourselves. So now, every representative of the people must be given that mandate to make sure that you carry your people along. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know what you're proposing. You saw the last one that happened. Some people ended it with fight and all the way because there's a disconnect in the people and the people that say they're representing them. But above all, I have to say that all we need for us to move on in this country is implementation of the rule of law. And by the time we look at these two things I have, talked about, I think we are good to go. I think Nigeria will be a better place. I think some of these issues will be a thing of the past. There's no country in the world that is perfect. But we must look at it very, very well. That if we can achieve some of these things without fear of favor, with sincerity of purpose, I believe any constitutional amendment they are proposing, anything they are doing, will get it right. But if we still insist and still leave chapter 2 of the Constitution to be non-justiciable, we are wasting our time. We are not ready for a better Nigeria. And we're not ready to bring about the transformation and integration we are calling for. As far as I'm concerned, that is my take.